What's up, Elite Army? This is your kinda well, kinda toxic host, Sarah Rittendale, bringing you another episode of Wellish. I'm going to go two different directions on this one because I think both of them are really valid and really important and really something that's not really looked at often when we hear how to say yes, or that we should be saying yes to more things. Now, I spend a lot of time on this podcast letting you guys know that you should not be doing shoulds, that you shouldn't be falling into the should trap, that there's nothing that you are supposed to be doing. So it really comes up a lot when it comes to saying yes, that, you know, you should be having these social interactions and you should be hanging out with your friends more and not just your boyfriend, or you should be spending more time with your family, or you should be applying to more jobs, or you should be, you know, there's a list goes on. Like there's so many shoulds when it comes to telling ourselves that we have to say yes. And a lot of the time when we're listening to something that is really talking about ways that we should be saying yes in our life more, it is really in this light of it's really for your overall well-being to do this, even though it's things that you don't really want to do. So let me explain this a little bit further, because I'm not obviously going to tell you that you should be doing something, because that's very not on brand. It's very not what we talk about here, but I do have a lot of insight for you in this regard. My point still applies. You do not have to do anything that you do not want to do. Even though you are on a mission to say yes to more things, you still do not have to do anything you do not want to do. And that is therapist approved shit right there. My therapist, I talk to her all the time about the way that I feel that I should be saying yes to more things. For me, it comes up a lot in friendships. And I say to her, you know, Penny, I can't do it. Like, I don't know. I don't know why. I wish that I was able to, but I really so much enjoy spending time alone and with my boyfriend. And, you know, I do enjoy spending time with my friends once in a while, but it's just, I feel this like daunting task to hang out with my friends a lot of the time. Now, I do, you know, I obviously have friends that I fucking love, and I love seeing you guys, whoever listens to the show. I do love hanging out with you. It's true, but I feel it takes more effort for me to hang out with my friends sometimes. And when I am feeling this way, you know, I feel guilty because I feel like I should be saying yes more. And she is very adamant in letting me know that I still don't have to say yes, that if it's something that you genuinely don't feel like doing or don't want to do, I obviously do not have to say yes to it. And now my issues with this and why it's so friendship focused is because I have developed a very much avoidant attachment style when it comes to my friendships, just due to a lot of unreliable friendships in my life, that now, even though I have really great friends, I have a hard time committing because I've never been able to rely on friendships. And so I've learned to live my life happy with spending time by myself and with people that do pour a lot of time into me, like my boyfriend or my family. So, you know, I feel like more inclined to hang out with them for that reason. But there is no good and bad, you know, like there is no, this is the right thing to do and this is the wrong thing to do. There just is. Period. Like it just is what it is. And if we don't want to do something, we are completely okay to say no. We are not failing at life and doing the wrong thing because we are doing what it is we actually want. And if that involves saying no, that's okay. You know, you're not supposed to go out and do stuff. There's no should, all right? Like that is, you know, what we're always preaching over here. So that does still apply. But when it does apply. And when you should be starting to say yes is when you begin to ask yourself what your values are and what your goals are in life. Let's say you have a value of increasing your social interaction, or you have a value of making more friends. You have a value of meeting more people. There's these underlying values that you have for yourself and predictions or, visions in your head for what you want your life to look like now or in the future. And when you lay in your bed at night, you have these ideas in your head. Let's say you have kids, okay? And your kids play sports and you fucking hate the fucking moms at those sports and you dread going to the games and it gives you too much anxiety. You cannot sit there and gossip with the bitch hole moms that are sitting at that game. But you have a value of going to your child's game. You have a value that you want their memory of their childhood sports to include you sitting there in the stands cheering them on. That is when you have to push yourself out of your comfort zone. When there are these values and goals for you and for your life that long term you're not going to be able to achieve without you pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. So when somebody asks you to hang out and you don't fucking feel like it today, it's okay. You're not supposed to say yes because people have to have friends and you're not supposed to spend too much time alone, or you're not supposed to spend too much time with one single person, or you're not supposed to only hang out with your family. You're supposed to have friends too. Whatever that's okay. You don't have to fucking do something that you don't want to do. But if you lie in bed at night and you are regretful and feel that your life doesn't look how you want it to look, that you're not living in alignment with this best self that you know that you could transform into, and that the things that contribute to you being your best self involve you doing the things that you're not saying yes to, that is when you have to push yourself out of your comfort zone and start to say yes. So in other words, not because you feel like you should, but you don't really want to, but because your quality of life depends on it. Because you living in alignment with your true, authentic self depends on it. Because you transforming into the best elite version of yourself depends on it. The second direction I want to steer you guys in when it comes to being able to push yourself out of your comfort zone and say yes is something that a friend of mine actually brought to light in my life. And I think it's a really interesting point to consider. She says, if it's not a fuck yes, it's a no. Now, let me have some gray area here. Let me have a little bit of wiggle room with this, because everything that I just said still applies. If it's something that is within your values, then you have to push yourself out of your comfort zone to say yes. It is still true. But the idea behind this is that if you are not completely enamored and satisfied with the aspects of your life, then you need to make a change. If the person you're with does enough, but you're not totally satisfied with them, letting them go. If you don't hate your job, but you also don't really like your job, start looking for new ones. We have to normalize not grinding things into the ground and trying to make them work for as long as possible until we're completely fucking uncomfortable and it's ripping at the seams and everything's falling apart. But when things aren't 100% the way that we want them, making that change, normalizing making that change when you don't feel good anymore. It's kind of like, and I heard this comparison one time and I fucking loved it, and I'm sure I've said it to you guys in the past, but it's like when we are tasting food, that for whatever reason, we taste food and we immediately know that we don't like it, and then we stop eating it. Ew, fucking sauerkraut. I will never let that shit touch my tongue ever again. The first time I tried it, I was 14 years old at my boyfriend's grandma's Easter celebration or like Good Friday, something like that. And I tried it and I was literally going to off myself. And I have never tried it again. I have never eaten sauerkraut ever again. I've never eaten Arby's ever again. Tried it once, hated it, never went back. It's just, I have things that I don't like, as does everybody, that we try and we don't fucking like. And so we let them go. But for whatever reason, when it comes to literally anything else in our life, if we don't like it, we think, well, I could, keep fucking working with it and maybe it'll be all right and I'll be able to make it work. And it doesn't have to be like that. If it isn't 100% something that you want to say yes to, and yes, again, one more time, I want to reiterate that you need to ask yourself what your underlying values and goals are. And maybe you do need to push yourself out of your comfort zone and say yes. But if it's not 100% something that you want and like, you don't have to continue to have it in your life. We should absolutely love as many things in our lives as we can. And in true Wellish fashion, I have to tell you, it's not going to be perfect. It's going to be most of the things in our life. You can't just drop out of school because you don't fucking like it anymore. And granted, you could, obviously a lot of people do that. They decide school isn't for them. If it's not a fuck yes, then it's a fuck no. And they decide that they're going to do a trade or, just to do something else entirely and not be a bum on a couch. I don't know, fucking whatever else their decision with their life is. And that's totally fine. If that's the way people want to live their lives, live your life that way. No one's stopping you as long as you are happy and you're living in alignment with your best self and your true self and, whatever your values are. Absolutely. All power to you. Go for it. But my point is like, there's going to be things in our life, just like what we were talking about at the beginning of the episode, that we're not completely comfortable with. And you still have to continue to push through despite your discomfort because it aligns with your greater value. Same thing with the school example. If you have a goal to become a lawyer, but you're really uncomfortable in school and you are considering quitting, you have to find the discipline and the willpower to push through and get to graduation and pass your LSAT and, do all of the things that aren't going to be a fucking fun time, but it's for your personal greater good. It's for your own goals and values that you have for yourself so that you can go to sleep at night knowing that you're living in alignment with the person that you actually want to be. But making an effort to have most of the things in your life be things that you absolutely love is an interesting and cool goal to kind of think about having. If, you don't love school, okay, fine, because you're uncomfortable, or you don't love going to your kids' baseball games because the moms suck, you have this thing or a couple things in your life that you have to do that you don't fucking like, but they have to, you got to do them because they align with your values. But maybe the things that aren't the end of the world, you can make sure that you're doing something that you absolutely love, that you can, make them fit in line. Like, again, if the person that you're dating is not making you 100% happy, then being okay with finding somebody else, because there is going to be somebody else. You will find your person. You just have to allow the universe to, let that happen for you. Or, there are so many jobs out in the world. There's no reason to settle for some bullshit job that you fucking hate and doesn't pay you enough. If you're really not happy, you have to be able to have the strength to say that you're going to look for something else, the self-love to say, I want to find a career path that's really going to bring me fulfillment in every day. And I care enough about myself to make that happen instead of sitting here like a fucking rock, complaining every goddamn day and hating my life, but never doing dick about it. I don't want to take away from yesterday's episode either. It is important to say no and to set boundaries and to know what it is that you don't want to do. It's just as important to do that as it is to say yes as a means of loving yourself. But being able to say yes brings many great fucking things into your life. And if you can start making that a priority and pushing yourself to start to say yes more, there's going to be new opportunities that flow into your life from doing so, like new opportunities and new adventures and, new experiences and new opportunities and new adventures and opportunities for your own personal growth, because you're going to be out in the world experiencing more things things and having more things to overcome. And so when you start to overcome those things, you gain self-trust, you gain confidence, you gain self-worth, because you wouldn't have more experiences to have to combat and have to grow from if you're just fucking sitting in your house all day, never going out into the world and experiencing anything. It helps you create new connections that could be valuable in the future. Like, dare I say the word fucking networking on the podcast, but I really like, being able to introduce yourself to more people and meet new people. And, maybe somebody would have an opportunity or think you're going to be really great in a role at their business and they recommend you, or, maybe there'll be somebody out there that has a realtor that they know that's getting a house that you would really fucking love. Or, just even, I have a couple people in my life that are the type of people that are like, oh yeah, I got a guy for that. And it's like kind of cool, because if you got a guy for a lot of things, because you're fucking always out there talking to people and saying yes to experiences to put yourself in positions to meet new people, maybe you save some money on a few areas in your life. I mean, like, there's things that saying yes and showing up and meeting people and putting yourself in circumstances to have new experiences can benefit you in areas of your life down the road. Saying yes could potentially help you help others. And, that really fosters a sense of self-love within yourself and makes you feel good. It makes you feel proud. And again, it comes back to your values. And if you have a value of making other people feel cared for, making other people feel good, maybe you can, ease up on having to people please all of the time, because you know that you make people feel good intentionally, compared to feeling like you have to never say no to anybody, or that you have to, do what other people want at your own expense, because you don't ever help people out otherwise. But if you start saying yes and contributing in a way that you're intentionally helping, it might help you, not feel like you are a slave to the people in your life anymore, especially because you're choosing what to say yes and what to say no to. And I really just want to say again, the learning opportunities that can come from saying yes, like, let that be saying yes to, workshops and trying something new and, joining a class, something along those lines, but also just saying yes to, maybe your friend wants you to fucking go to a cycling class and you don't really want to fucking go, and you don't like cycling, you've never done it before, feels weird and uncomfortable for you, but you say yes and then you really like it. And then you have that means of exercise that replaces the other stuff that you fucking hate and have to force yourself to go to, but you know that you should do it because, you've got to fucking move your body because it's part of self-care and blah, blah, but I don't fucking want to do it. But maybe you going to this cycling class or a Pilates class or a yoga class or something like that will help you learn more about yourself and be able to bring that more into your own life. And you just get new skills and perspectives and techniques that you can use just because you're out in life learning and experiencing and growing, that you can use throughout several areas of your life for the rest of your life, all because you had the balls to say yes, or because you valued saying yes, even though, it was uncomfortable. Overall, saying yes really is an act of self-love and self-empowerment at its finest, base level. It's what it is. It really is an act of showing up for yourself and making sure that you are showing up in line with your values and with your goals, and setting out for your own well-being to do things that make you happy. And it's taking intentional and proactive steps to become the person that you want to become a person that you feel proud of being and that you feel comfortable and good in your own skin, because you know that you're showing up as your authentic self, and an authentic self that you can be in love with. Thank you so much for listening to day 16 of the 28 Days of Self-Love. Tomorrow, we're going to be tuning in for day 17 for an episode topic that I feel is not acknowledged in self-love. And it is so important. And I see it so fucking often. And that's building a safe environment. So tune in tomorrow for that. Other than that, thank you so much for listening again to today's episode. I really appreciate all of you guys. And make sure your day kicks ass, and make sure you know that you're elite as fuck. And that's it. I will talk to you tomorrow about building a safe environment. Peace out.